Well, I honestly thought that this was going to be easy. Right down the middle, obvious ones, enough likes to be able to pick one from the other. But this was hard. This was extraordinarily hard, and I had no idea that it was going to be this way. For those that actually participated in this, to actually choose the best and worst, the best were literally tied. All of them. And there were some that, so here's how I had to break it up. For the best, I literally had to take the ones that was the most common, and the ones that were the most common, I literally had to be the deciding vote, which is what I didn't really anticipate on doing, but yeah, hopefully it'll be what you guys are looking for, because I know that there was not many of you that actually did participate in it, but other than that, it gave me enough information that I needed to actually put the best down, even though it was a tie across the board. Now for the worst, it was a little weird. I'll say that. The one that I actually would put up to be number one wasn't number one, and I only went by the votes that you guys put down. And well, pretty much the actual titles that you guys put down, the episodes that y'all chose, I went by that. I didn't really go by my own thinking here. I actually did go by the actual episodes you guys put down. So the results were fairly interesting, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. So without further ado, here is the best and the worst top 3 episodes of Girl Meets World for season 3. Although this episode wasn't entirely great, it wasn't completely horrible either. She Like Me was kind of weird, crazy, over the top nonsense. Well, at least that was in my opinion. We all expect Riley to be like the whole rainbow sunshine coming out of your butt, ears, and every single orifice in your body. We expect that out of her. But when it came to this episode, she practically showed her immaturity even more. And yes, I will agree to some of you fans of Riley that there are times she actually can't be mature. It wasn't this episode. But I will say this. Smackle made me laugh the entire way through, especially when she was having that uncensored teaching discussion wherever it was, and the class was practically holding their ears trying to censor themselves, all about talking about the human body, which I thought was hilarious. But the one disturbing part of this episode definitely was Topanga. By any way, shape, or form. That woman scares me. Especially the fact that she had a family audited because they didn't like her daughter. That's a bit over the top and a little bit weird. But not as weird as the fact that Riley was okay with Lucas flirting with Smackle and how Smackle literally laughed and giggled back. That was a bit off. But other than that, guys, I'm alright with this being number 3. At least it wasn't a complete crapper. Oh boy, speaking of crap, this was the biggest piece of crap there was, and I'm absolutely shocked that this is number 2. But I don't make the call, y'all do, and I'm following that. But when it comes to Girl Meets Hollyworld, this was probably one of the worst episodes I've ever watched in season 3. And honestly, there are multiple things that make this episode bad, but naming only 3, the first one, the plot is all over the place. You have no idea what they're trying to do, what they're planning on doing. There are multiple ideas all rolled up into one, but they don't connect at all. Number 2, this really does show you how toxic of a friendship that Riley and Maya's friendship is becoming. The fact that Riley was not the voice of reason here and she literally followed Maya into the abyss without even asking a question baffles me. And like I said in the first one, yes, we expect Riley to be a happy-go-lucky unicorn, sunshine, rainbows, all that other stuff. But there are times that Riley can actually be mature, can be the voice of reason. And this is what we needed her. We needed her to be the voice of reason in this episode. Because number 3, Maya committed felony kidnapping. And the fact that they went to Topanga for this shows you how bad it got. And there were no consequences here because it was a best friend problem, which really pissed me off. Look, Disney, I understand you're trying to keep everything golden and beautiful, but you gotta be real here. Felony is a felony. They nearly sent Maya to jail for spraying graffiti on the wall. Do you know what consequences this could have if they actually went through with putting her in jail? Which is what they should have done. And I'm not going to go the whole Boy Meets World route because you guys already know that before. From hearing from other people. But other than that, I will say this. This episode was flat out bad for those 3 reasons. And I'm really shocked that it's at number 2. But after looking at your choices and seeing what the number 1 is, and after thinking about it, I understand why you guys chose this to be number 1. Girl Meets Ski Lodge. Wow. This was supposed to be the moment, the shining moment, where the triangle was finally faced and came to a head and had a triumphant moment where that individual was chosen by Lucas. It was supposed to be a wonderful moment, but good grief, it was not. They spent seasons building up this triangle, only for it to die with a whimper. That is pathetic and sad. This is supposed to pay homage to Heartbreak Corey in Boy Meets World. And in Heartbreak Corey, not only did you have scenes with Topanga, who was completely naive throughout the whole thing, you also saw Corey's moments with Lauren. And those moments actually did give you the feels. Not really so much out of jealousy and anger towards Corey, but also, well, not really jealousy, but so much anger towards Corey, in fact, what he was doing to Topanga. It shows you that this woman actually did have a lot in common with Corey. And maybe Corey should see somewhat outside the box and possibly pursue this. It made you not only fear for Corpanga, it also made you think that maybe Lauren could be a better person for Corey. It literally made you think, not only gave you the feels, it gave you a moment of, like, it made you care. And Lauren was such a likable character that even though she knew what she was doing, you kind of liked her. And you kind of saw her as someone that could possibly be a better person for Corey. But in this case, when it comes to Girl Meets Ski Lodge, there was no moments like that because it seems like that they were too afraid to execute. It seemed like they were so passive aggressive when it came to this. Not even aggressive, they were extraordinarily passive when it came to this episode. It would have really been great if both girls had moments with Lucas without the whole fantasy fanfare. Now, I know that a lot of you don't really like all that. The fact that, you had the whole James Bond thing with Maya, even though I thought that was pretty interesting and amusing. And then the whole happy-go-lucky utopia that you saw with Riley. I will admit this, but there were clues in there. And I actually did see Smurf's review, and he kind of touched on that. So you should definitely check out that episode review. But other than that, I will say this. It was bad for this reason. When this is supposed to be something on the line, whether it's the girl's friendship, whether or not it's a friendship with Lucas, whether or not it's a friendship with the entire crew, it was supposed to feel like something was on the line, and it just wasn't. And then you insert Josh in the mix for some random reason, as well as making Maya not be Maya because she thinks she's Riley, which is pathetic and weird and lazy. That's what made this episode so bad. There could have been so many things they would have done to make this the best episode ever. To literally make it feel like that there was something on the line. They built it up so much at Girl Meets Texas Part 1 and 2 and 3. But they didn't do anything here. Instead of the triangle literally going out with a blaze of glory, it died with a whimper. That's why this is number 1. Both Part 1 and Part 2. Hold on, people. I did not forget the best part. Before I actually get started with the top 3 best, I want to thank all those that participated. There were 4 of you that did participate, but I do thank you guys for putting in your entries. And like I said, this was difficult. Out of 4 people, it was straight down the middle for every single category. But there were similarities. And I actually did choose those similarities, but I chose which ones I thought was better on the list, even though it's supposed to be about you guys. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you agree. If you don't, by all means, leave your top 3 and the best and worst in the comments below. I am curious to hear what you guys think of what your top 3 best and worst would be for season 3. Now, before I send you guys off to this list, I want to thank you guys so much for a wonderful year, and hopefully 2017 will be even better. Happy New Year, you guys, and here is the top 3 of season 3. Peace out. Although there are some things that I disagree with when it comes to this episode, I will agree that this should be number 3. And mainly it's because of the mother-daughter dynamic that we see between Topanga and Riley. We don't usually see the parent and the daughter come together in most of these episodes, but it really did come to a head here. The one thing we never thought that would ever happen is Riley crossing Topanga, especially for a ridiculous reason. For an internet show, you know you can hit pause and you can come back to it later. I mean, hey, we do have Netflix. But other than that, even though the reason is ridiculous in itself, they honestly show the conflict between Topanga and Riley and how they were able to come to a conclusion. Yes, Riley did the same thing that pretty much everybody and even their mom has done in their past. Has ran away from home, stayed with one of their friends, and wanted to live and all this other stuff. But the one thing that I loved about this is the reality of it all. Even Corey was talking about, okay, you want to go and move? How are you going to do that? But the one thing I loved about it, besides the reality that came from the parents, was how Maya actually was the best friend and encouraged her to go home. And even though we saw how brokenhearted Topanga was, it made me happy that in the very end, they came back together as mother and daughter, and she actually did handle her punishment like a growing adult. I enjoyed that for this reason. I do agree with this episode being number 3. This episode actually touched on a very wonderful thing that you don't really see a lot of episodes talk about anymore. Culture, heritage, where you're from. That's pretty much what this entire episode was about. And you don't really see episodes that actually have a general theme that they stick to. But the one touching moment that I loved in this was Farkle. Farkle's what made the episode for me, as well as the beautiful Ryarkle moments that we got out of this. It showed me how much Riley loved Farkle by literally coming to his aid when he was uncomfortable about not knowing where he came from. And when he wasn't comfortable in talking about it, she came to his side. And it actually did make you, it inspired me, as well as I wouldn't be surprised if it inspired other people to literally know where you came from. It inspired Maya to want to go to Ireland one day after finding out about her Irish heritage. And it actually did inspire Farkle to find out who he really is, as well as coming out about who he really is, or what he does not know about who he is. But it was just a lovely moment, seeing how Farkle discovered himself, and even though he was uncomfortable, they all came together as a unit, especially Riley. I love that episode about her because honestly, there are times when you do see great moments coming out of Riley to where you can see a lot of growth coming from her. And I enjoyed that episode for that reason. But let's move on to the number 1 episode that I know you guys already have a feeling what it is. In other words, you guys have predicted it. Here we go. Oh man. Girl Meets a Christmas Maya. Now, it has nothing to do with the fact that Maya was embarrassed about her Christmas heritage or Christmas history, what have you, with her mom. It wasn't even the fact that Sean wasn't even there for me. There's only 2 reasons and 4 people that make me love this episode so much. Number 1 is Zayadora. And I got the whole term from Carly Craziness, shout out to you, because that is a beautiful name for 2 beautiful individuals. I didn't think I have seen that much chemistry coming out of 2 minor characters in the show than those 2. I really do want to see more out of Zayadora. And after seeing that episode, I really do hope that something happens in season 4, if there is a season 4, but something telling me that there is going to be a season 4, and I do believe that there is. That's just me. But I hope that I see these people, both Zay and Smackle, somehow get together in season 4. I'm just saying, it would be great, because I have not seen that much chemistry coming out of 2 minor characters in this show in a while. In this show. Boy Meets World is a whole nother entity. But the biggest moment that I loved in this episode was Ryarkle. By far, everything all wound up into one. Shows you how much that Riley loves Farkle and Farkle loves her back. It literally took me back it literally took me back to season 2. It took me back to part of season 1. It shows me how much these 2 really care about each other and how much they have each other's back. And not only that, it's more than just friendship for me. It feels like they actually genuinely love each other. And she was actually able to say I love you without flinching, and we haven't even heard that from Lucas, and he wasn't even there. That makes me root for Ryarkle even more. That made me love that episode even more. And that's why I humbly agree with you guys that this is definitely the number 1 episode of season 3. Thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you for your entries. Happy New Year to all you guys. And I will see you next year when hopefully they'll have a season 4.